Hello, I'm Lowell Martin, and this is MCC Today, voted #1 show 3 weeks in a row in Montgomery parking lot.
Thank you to the teachers for encouraging me when I wasn't sure where to start, for seeing my potential even when I didn't, for inspiring me to reach farther and try harder.
Thank you, MCC. You helped me change my future.
Find your wings at MCC.
We are here today with the wonderful Miss Fannie Johnson. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you for having me.
Well, now you are the Executive Director of Love's Kitchen. Okay, now how long have we been doing that?
15 years almost.
Oh my
14,
goodness.
14 years.
14 years, okay. Now, and you know this because I've told you this many times, this is a place that's near and dear to my heart. But MCC is coming up on our My College Cares Day, which will be on October 18th. And my part of that is I get donations and then I bring the donations to Love's Kitchen, and have been doing. And I don't just to say I don't just do it on My College Cares Day when I get enough, because people donate all year. But I wanted to have you on today to talk about maybe what y'all need, if there's a need in particular. I know you need a lot.
Yes.
Always, you know, because the situation seems like it's growing as far as homelessness is concerned.
And the economy, I just watched the news this morning saying food is getting ready to go up again. Gas is getting ready to go up again.
Yes.
So everything is getting ready to go up, and for some reason we've had an increase in young people, children coming to the kitchen.
Really?
And I'm not really sure where that's coming from, because sometimes I can ask questions and sometimes I can't.
Okay.
You know, I can just feed them, or I can ask to see if there's anything I can do to help. But if nothing I can do to help, I'm not judging. But we are getting an increase in children. And we don't know what to expect when it gets cold and when the actual prices go up, as everybody's predicting.
Well, I sent out an email last week asking for things, and I said, you know, for canned goods and toiletries. But I also made sure to say, you know, for gloves and socks, because we are coming up on cold weather. Yes. But is there anything else that y'all are in particular need of? The
gloves and socks, I want to remind everybody that try to make them thick. Okay. Instead of paying, you know, 5 pair of little thin gloves, get 1 good pair of gloves. Okay. Because the thin ones really don't keep their hands warm.
And those that are just, that don't have the fingers in them sometimes, those don't go over well either.
Yeah. They need to be thick and big enough for a man most of the time, because most of our population is still, homeless population is men. And the women would much rather have a nice thick pair too. And the same thing with the socks. And I know this is going to sound funny, but try not to do white. If they're living in the woods, they get filthy. And we're the ones who wash their clothes. So sometimes white, I don't care how much we wash them. They still, so the thick ones. And canned goods, we're having a big can drive that Little Caesars is still sponsoring. But if they want to do cans, pork and beans and canned fruit is what we normally don't get and have to buy. Actually, I've got to go to the store today and buy some pork and beans.
So pork and beans and canned fruit.
Canned fruit and barbecue sauce.
And barbecue sauce.
Those will be the things we need for our pantry. As far as the toiletries, we're good.
Okay. So.
We've been working with Mute for years.
Right.
And what they do is they put a lot of them in their own homes.
Okay.
And then a lot of them, they're helping them adjust to being on their own. So the toiletry requests have actually gone down.
Okay.
And we still have the little 3-compartment thing with toothbrushes, deodorant. I think last year we needed deodorant for the females. Right. And we still have a good supply of all of that.
What about feminine hygiene products?
We still have a good supply of that.
So you're okay with that. Now, as far as you said a growing number of younger people coming in, is there anything in, you know, because I don't know if anybody comes in and they have like toddlers or babies or anything like that.
We have
diapers,
a few.
Perhaps?
No, we don't want to really get out there. That's something that would go to someplace like Wesley House. Okay. Because we try to, as a United Way agency, we try to remember or work with our partner agencies, because if we start duplicating services, the money gets kind of messed up. So this way, no duplication of services, the money goes further.
Sure.
And Wesley House actually sits down and interviews them, and they have other programs where they can maybe figure out why this family can't afford diapers.
Okay.
So they're more of a long term. We would be a short time handout.
Sure.
And because I'm usually low on staff, people stopping by asking for that kind of stuff would get out of control. And it would slow us down on our main mission, which is trying to feed the people. I brought up the children because I'm thinking maybe somebody will hear me and tell me what's going on. And maybe there will be something either I or another agency can help with, because it gets a little scary.
Sure.
But and on the weekends we do a grab bag, and we do like chips, cookies, hot dog, bottled water, and that kind of stuff. And then one of the nursing instructors had called already, and I think they're doing like a Kool-Aid and tea drive for us.
Okay.
So that kind of stuff. But the cans would probably be on the bottom of our list. Okay. And I know it's tacky to say, but if you can't figure out what you want to give, money.
Money.
Always
Yes.
works, because some people think we're an agency that's a city agency or a state agency. We are not. We pay electric bill, gas bill, water bill, insurance. We pay any bill that any other business would pay.
Well, as you just said, though, it's so much more than just a meal.
Yes.
Because, you know, as you wash their clothes.
Yes.
You provide so much more than just that hot meal per day.
Yes.
Which is important.
Yes.
And you and I have discussed this before, because there is no one size fits all as far as solving the issues around homelessness.
Exactly.
Because there's so much as far as addiction, there's so much as far as mental illness.
Yes.
That we're just now starting to look at, because you can't just say, oh, why don't you just go out and get a job? It's not that simple.
It sure isn't.
It's not. Unfortunately, I wish it were that simple.
Me too, because we've helped them get jobs. We have a homeless man that if you drive by Love's Kitchen in the morning, he's going to be sitting on the side of the building. And we have tried to put him in home several times, and everybody just gave up. So we just kind of let him hang out. He gets breakfast, or somebody will drop off him breakfast. And if I need a volunteer, he'll help me unload the car when I go shopping and stuff. But he had been out in the woods for so long. But he's one that he doesn't give us any problem. He doesn't cuss out anybody. He doesn't do anything. It's just, that's the life he's chosen, and no matter what we do, he's not coming inside. There's some others we have tried to help get inside. We help with furniture. I'm sure you've seen me on Facebook say we need a bed or we need a microwave. And we've helped in those cases, but some of them, after the free money goes away, they're still not ready to take over, even though they may have been put in a situation where they should be able to take over.
Right.
They just never have. So in some cases, it's like we know if they've eaten, that they can try to go get a job. They got clean clothes.
Right.
And they don't go to an interview dirty and hungry.
Right.
So that increases their chances of getting a place to stay or, a job. So we try to make sure that one basic need. And then MUTE, Mississippi United and Homeless, they come to Love's Kitchen and meet their clients. We have the paperwork at the kitchen to get them in the Francis W. Davidson homeless shelter. Okay. So we have access to almost anything they need. We've got the paperwork to go to the free clinic. So even though we don't do all those things, we've got access and great communications. Yes, with those other places.
So if someone would like to get in touch with you as far as donations or anything like that, how can they get in touch with you?
601-693-1409.
Okay. And I want to say, because I've said this many times, you don't know how important it is for someone who has a family member to know that they're getting a meal. Thank you.
Can I hug you?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I want you to come back on, okay?
I will, and thanks MCC for what y'all do all year round, not just College Cares.
We'll be right back.
Not essential. Never let anyone tell you that again. Never doubt your abilities to make a difference. How do I know this about you? Because I'm a teacher. I am the one who will push you harder and farther than you could have ever imagined. Teach you things that you never thought possible. And if you will give me 100%, then I will stand shoulder to shoulder with you, and together we will change your future. MCC, find your wings.
And we are here with the wonderful Shaquita Alfonso Johnson. No, Hopson. I'm so sorry. So Shaquita Hopson Alfonso. Hyphen.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
No hyphen. Actually, no hyphen.
Okay.
No hyphen.
Minus the hyphen. And
Minus
you are
the hyphen.
the associate
Director of Advising and Retention.
of Advising and Retention when there is no
There's
director of
There's
advising.
a dean of Advising and Retention and Student Success, but there's no director.
Well, you know, I am the director of student success.
Yes.
But I have no underlings. I have no people under me to help me do anything.
Well, I could, I could be. Okay, that was going. Okay, let's just leave that alone. 'Cause that was.
I'm waiting. At some point, I want associate directors.
Okay, I can do it.
Okay.
I can do it.
Well, now you are here today because we have something starting.
Yes.
Is it this week or next week?
October 17th, we
Okay.
have our Term 2 online classes starting.
Okay.
So they're all online, and they start October 17th. I think most of them end December 9th. Correct? I think that's.
I believe
the
they
correct
do.
date.
Yeah.
And we've got all sorts. We've got history courses, we've got some math courses, we've got some English, science, we got a mixture. And people like those, students like those.
College study skills.
Yes, college study skills is one of them. People like the time frame. From my understanding, a lot of students tell me it gives them no time to procrastinate.
Okay.
So they just get in and they do, that's why they like it.
Okay.
You just get in, and then it also gives people an opportunity to start who didn't get a chance, like maybe their financial aid didn't come through in time, or maybe they just made a decision to come back to school. So it gives you time to start in the fall and kind of get in the swing of things before spring begins.
Okay. And so that was going to be my next question. So they can still use their financial aid for
if
these
they
Term
had
2 classes.
prior approval. Like,
Okay.
Now you just can't just start now, but
Sure.
if you've already had it, and
Okay. Now there are a number of students who will take advantage of this, hopefully.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be students who are already here. They can be new students can come in.
Yeah. You can do an application. Once admitted, contact an advisor, and we can help you get started.
Okay.
Get registered for those particular courses.
And I actually know that you do a lot of this because she advises a lot of people. Every time I go by your office, it is full. You've got 2 or 3 people in there, and you're telling them you're setting up classes for them.
Yeah.
Do people ever not take your advice as far as classes are concerned? Just out of curiosity, because I would be afraid not to.
I mean, I threatened them a couple of times, but I robbed at their house and things like that.
There
But
you go,
that was
there
just
you
that
go.
one time, that open case. But no, not really. That's a joke. But often, because I like people to make an informed decision. That's my big thing. I want to present the evidence to you, present what could be the possibilities to you, and let you make a decision based on an informed decision. So if somebody doesn't take my advice, it doesn't offend me.
Sure.
It's just because you've got to make the decision based on what you got going on. And a lot of students, I don't recommend that they take online, but if you don't have a vehicle, you work, you have limited access to a vehicle, or you're working and you can't come to campus as much, really the only other option is online sometimes. So I just like to present what the possibilities are to
But I know
and
that
let you make an informed decision.
you also tell them of the things that will help them if they're online.
And as all the advisors, yes, we try to tell them what can benefit them academically. If they listen, they don't. I think everybody listens, but I just think everybody makes a decision based on their personal, opinion.
And I think sometimes students, and I don't mean this in a bad way, and please, I don't mean this in a bad way, but sometimes you make a decision and you don't really have all the facts in front of you. And you and I have been doing this a number of years, and we know what's going to happen second semester, second year, maybe, beyond that if necessary. But, you don't want to. Sometimes a student will go, well, I can take this, and this all together.
Yeah,
That's not going to be, I can do that. And then, we're like, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Because these classes are going to take a lot of studying.
Yes. Yeah.
These classes are going to take some time.
Yeah.
And it's important for you to do really well in them,
Yes.
especially if you're hoping to get
Yes.
into some of the
Yes.
other programs.
That's exactly right.
And so sometimes you have to space it out.
Yes.
And,
yes.
students are notorious for not wanting to space it out.
Yes, and it's not, we have a lot of students who want to get, you want to get into the program, and so they see, all I got to do is take all of these, Okay, but you don't cram them. You know,
Right.
This is slow and steady wins the race as well.
There you go. There you go.
You know, certain students can fit all those in and do them, you know, at one time. It's just not the I don't recommend, and I don't think most of the advisors recommend just cramming classes just to get into a program, because ultimately you want a good GPA. You want to do well in those classes.
And especially if you're not going to be able to get into the program until this specified
just
time
space
anyway,
them out.
why
Just,
are you trying to
just space
push
them out.
all of it
Yeah.
in 1 or 2 semesters?
I think that's just the way society is. We just want to do stuff right now.
Sure.
Instant gratification. I'm knocking it off the list.
Instant gratification is not fast enough.
Well,
You
Lord,
know that.
how fast? But yeah, I think that's kind of a society as a whole. I mean, I'm guilty of it. I want to, do stuff and get an instant result, and that's not always.
Sure.
So in school, it's best to do, slow and steady. I mean, not to say you're not gonna run into little Joe, who did this in one semester and knocked it out, know. But that's the average person. That doesn't work for them.
But if you're trying to go into dental hygiene or nursing, or your grades are going to be of utmost importance.
Because these programs are competitive in nature.
They're very competitive.
And so the people who have the highest grades, the highest test scores, are more likely.
Right.
I'm gonna put that out there.
You have,
more likely
you have
to get into
200,
the program.
250 people that are competing for 60 slots.
Yes, you got to give yourself the competitive edge.
Right.
And the competitive edge is good grades, high test scores, things of that nature. Not to say you're going to run into somebody that has a little lower test score, or the GPA is just right at the minimum. We literally say on the documents, meeting minimum admission requirements does not guarantee entry into the program.
That's the minimum.
and
a lot of other people who are coming in have higher.
Exactly. And then, just because this is a community college, you're competing with people who have master's and bachelor's degrees. So you just got to give yourself the most competitive edge as possible, and having good grades gives you a competitive edge.
Okay, so when does term 2 start again?
October 17th.
And so you still have plenty of time.
Yes, got some time to get everything together. If you're not a current student, do your admissions app and all that. You got some time.
Okay, so just make sure that you fill out your admissions, and usually I think y'all got it to where within a day they hear from an advisor.
Yeah, they pretty much hear from us pretty quickly. Once everything gets going, you get your email from admissions. You can come up here. You can make an appointment with us. You can walk in a myriad of ways. Call us on the telephone. We're ready, willing, and able to help you.
Okay, now how can you contact advising if you need some help?
Why would you ask me that?
Because
you can reach us at advising@meridiancc.edu. I'm just kidding. You really can reach us at that. Advising@meridiancc.edu.
Listen, thank you, Madam Associate Director.
Thank you
for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I would like to start my campaign of being the co-host of this show. So I've been on here 15 times.
Okay. This is her last appearance. No, I'm joking.
We want to get you on again. This.
We want to get you on again. Thank you, Shaquita.
Okay, thank you so much.
We'll be right back.
Since 1996, the MCC Foundation Tuition Guarantee Program has provided students an opportunity to find their potential. Thousands of students have benefited from the program. Over $6 million have been invested in the students who learn and live right here in our community. This program is funded by individuals and businesses who believe in our students, our families, and the economic impact of an education at Meridian Community College. Now is your chance to offer support. Give today at meridiancc.edu/give.
And we are here with the wonderful Miss Kelly McKee. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Now, you are the Writing Lab Coordinator.
Correct.
For Meridian Community College, and you have been for a number of years now.
Right.
Previous to that, you were an English instructor.
Yes.
Okay, and then you kind of segued into Writing Lab Coordinator. And originally, you were kind of off by yourself, but was it last year or year before?
Year before.
Year before last. You moved into the Success Center.
Correct.
Which I'm so thrilled over because, and she literally is one of my favorite people in the world. But talking about the Writing Lab, okay, what are some reasons that students should go to the Writing Lab?
Well, students can come into the Writing Lab to work on a paper or any writing assignment that they have to do for any of their MCC classes. Primarily, most students come in because they have essays to do for their English classes, but occasionally they'll have papers to do in other classes like psychology or history or art appreciation, and we can certainly help with those types of assignments as well. And there are a couple of benefits to coming into the writing lab to work on papers. One of those is that students can work on their paper in an environment where there is an instructor and tutors present in case they have questions as they're working. And a second benefit is that it just provides a nice space to work on their assignments, because students tell me all the time that they just don't have anywhere at home where they can sit down and write a paper. It's either noisy, or they don't have a reliable computer, or they just don't have the time. And so they can come into the writing lab and use our computers, or just sit at one of the tables and just have a nice quiet space to work on their papers while they're on campus.
Now, when a student comes in the Success Center, okay, you come in, you sign in, and then you go back to the writing lab. What should they expect in the writing lab?
Okay. Well, actually, that's what I was going to explain.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine. They need to know this. When they come into the Success Center, they will need their student ID to check in at the front desk. And then when they check in, the person at the front desk will ask them if they are there to just work independently, which is totally fine, or if they have a specific need. And if they do, then that student is paired with either an instructor or a tutor, a student tutor, who can help them address that need. And some examples are things like sometimes a student has a paper that they've already written, but they have just a few questions about it before they actually submit it for grading. Maybe they didn't get a chance to ask their teacher in class the questions that they have, or they didn't realize they had the questions until they got home. And it may be questions about punctuation or format or citing a source if it's a research assignment. And a one-on-one session like that with an instructor or a tutor can kind of address those questions. Something else we can do in a one-on-one session is go over a graded paper. That's really an effective way to learn from mistakes, is to have someone go over a graded paper with you and help you understand what it is that you did wrong, why you lost points, and then how you can avoid making those same mistakes on the next paper.
And the thing to remember is you are an actual English instructor.
Yes, I am.
You still teach English classes
I do.
during the regular semesters.
Yes, and we have other English instructors. If I'm not in the writing lab when a student comes, another English instructor will be there. And worst case scenario, we will at least have tutors available, but all of the time that we're open, we have an English instructor present.
Yes. Now, something that I hear all of the time is about proofreading papers, okay? So, please set the record straight as far as the writing lab is concerned. Can we proofread a paper for a student?
Okay, and I'm glad you asked that, because a lot of students do come in and all they want, they say, I'm not here for tutoring, I just want somebody to proofread my paper and edit it for me before I turn it in. That's not something that we do.
Okay.
We can't just proofread a paper, make corrections for the student, give it back to them so they can turn it in. The main reason is that the student isn't learning anything in that process.
Right.
But what we can do, even though we're not going to just proofread an entire paper and edit it, we can read enough of the paper to help the student identify what types of errors that they may need to work on. I can any of us can typically look at a paper, maybe the first couple of paragraphs, and can say, okay, it looks like you're having some issues with commas, or maybe it looks like you're using some informal wording. Let's work on how to avoid that. And then kind of guide the student through the process of proofreading on their own, but just, with some guidance.
And a lot of times there's students who come in who, it's like they need help getting started.
Yes.
Or they, and I've seen students who will be like, okay, what do you think of this thesis statement?
Right.
We can offer a lot of help, but not just we're going to sit down. We're going to have a learning experience with you.
Exactly.
It's not going to be we're doing this here, as you said before.
Right, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because, you know, sometimes, yes, we'll answer your questions, we'll go over a graded paper, but sometimes students don't know what they need help with.
Right.
They're like, I have this assignment, and it creates anxiety for them, because a lot of people, you know, some people have test anxiety, other people have writing anxiety. They're like, oh my goodness, I have to write a paper for this class. And we can definitely do what you said and sit down, and we can't write it for them.
Right.
But we can have a conversation with them, make some notes, ask some questions that get ideas flowing and kind of get a start on the paper. And then the student can sit right there in the writing lab and work on it, or leave and come back later and let us look at what they've come up with and kind of go from there.
Yes. Now, as far as the writing lab and the Success Center in general, appointments. Okay, do you need an appointment for the writing lab?
Okay, well, you certainly don't need an appointment just to come in and work on a paper independently and ask a question or two while you're in there. But if you want to have one-on-one tutoring with an English instructor or a student tutor, it's a good idea to make an appointment just to make sure that there's going to be somebody there to help you at the time that you come. I mean, you can come by and see if someone's available, and many times that is the case, but if you just want to make sure, you can go, there's a link in Canvas called Tutor Track, where students can go and make an appointment online. And they can also call the Student Success Center. The number is 601-484-8799, and just ask to make an appointment and you can specify an English instructor or a student tutor. Some people feel more comfortable working with a peer. Some people would prefer an instructor.
Okay. And as you said before, the writing lab is not just for English. It could be for sociology papers, psychology papers, outlines for speeches, anything like that that a student needs help in.
Right.
Well, listen, I want to thank you for being here today, and I hope people take advantage of this.
I do too, because improving your writing will help you in all of your classes in college.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Meridian Community College. For more than 75 years, we've helped students soar. Establishing the first tuition guarantee program in Mississippi, we put our students first, while creating pathways into the workforce and offering a seamless transition to a 4-year degree. Now is the time to find your purpose and register today, because those who move forward never get left behind. MCC, find your wings.
On behalf of executive producers Matt Milner and Tanisha Clark, media specialist Josh Taylor, and student producer Atoria Crowell, thank you for watching. Hope you learned something, and we'll see you next week.